Rick Roberts. Opinion, passion, attitude.
KFMB.
Buenas tardes a todos. Yellow se escucha.
All right, welcome to Court of Public Opinion, the Rick Roberts Show. Matt Friedman is running against Susan Davis, Escucha. He's not a Washington insider or a career politician. I guess some would say he's a normal guy, just like you or me. The successful San Diego businessman, entrepreneur, looking to show Susan Davis the door. He's been deeply impacted and troubled by the exponential growth of government. As most of you know, this socialist, overreaching, aggressive government. The jobs, evidently, Obama was talking about during the campaign were government jobs because government has increased in size and scope, probably tenfold in the last year. These type of intrusions spurred him into running for Congress. He understands that government's role is to facilitate free enterprise, not to distribute San Diegans' wealth. He's against our next up-and-coming hurdle, amnesty for illegals. Well, let's find out what he's all about. Let's welcome to the show, running against Susan Davis, Matt Friedman. Mr. Friedman, welcome. How you doing?
Good morning. I appreciate the opportunity to be on air. And actually, having a little 17-month-old, it's good morning usually starts at about 4:30, so I've been up and chugging along for a while now.
Well, all right. Let's talk about this. Susan Davis is no pushover. She's not going to go quietly into the night. How do you plan to, in the figurative sense, take her out?
Realizing that she is this entrenched incumbent, we started the race, I'd say probably about a week after the 2008 elections, and even began prepping for that back in June of 2008. It's somebody who just, you have to look at, why is that person continually there? It's that sitting judge mentality that this district has voted for her over and over again. They look and they say, has Susan Davis done anything really wrong? And we started looking at, Susan Davis done really anything right? So that's why we started and put our campaign together, and proud to say at this point we have an army of about 350 volunteers to begin the process of removing an entrenched incumbent.
All right. Well, what's your platform? In other words, I don't know Matt Friedman from anybody. Why should I be looking at this guy? Well, other than Susan Davis is Susan Davis. I mean, what are you going to do for me?
That's probably the best question I think any voter can ask is, what are you going to do for me, Matt? Coming from the business world, that's how you have to interact with your customers every single day, competing with other businesses to say, what can I do differently for my customer, or running for Congress, what can I do for my voter? I do feel I have a very unique perspective than other candidates out there of having to been in the trenches along with you as the constituents of the 53rd. My wife, at 5 months, lost her job. She was pregnant, and you start seeing, well, what is really going on out there? What is the focus of Congress? And it's the ability that I've created jobs before. I have employed San Diegans. So that's the first, I guess, real big difference that separates me from the other candidates, to say, I honestly understand what's going on wrong. How can I help make this right? So looking at getting into Congress as a junior member, saying, where do we realign? Where do we look and put our focus to say, we must create jobs? It's not the government's duty to create jobs. It is the private sector's responsibility. So that's the biggest philosophical difference that the people in the 53rd are going to have to say, do we want someone who believes it's the private sector's responsibility or the government's responsibility? And that's going to be the big challenge, the big hurdle in November of 2010 in getting the voters to believe in that.
All right. Where do you stand on amnesty?
Amnesty is probably one of the most ridiculous things that we could ever look at, and I say that sincerely and wholeheartedly. If we are going to offer a group of individuals amnesty, it's basically saying it's okay to break our laws. The Constitution, we are a sovereign nation, and by allowing individuals to break our laws coming in, it is already setting a precedent to continue to break our laws. We must protect America. We must put American citizens first. And don't get me wrong. I love the fact that people want to come to our country. It must be done legally, and we must also look at the fact that it cannot take us 9 to 11 years for an individual to come into this country. We must also streamline that process for people, and I use this word very, bold this, must be able to contribute to the American dream. must be able to contribute to the economy. We have enough of our brothers and sisters that we have to take care of in this country. It is not our responsibility to take care of everybody else's brothers and sisters of all the countries of the world.
All right. People want more information about your candidacy, about your platform, about your agenda in a good way. Moving out Susan Davis. And by the way, Susan, are you here? Susan Davis.
Buenas tardes a todos. Yellow Escucho.
Oh my God! How do they get more information, Mr. Friedman, about your campaign?
Well, there's actually a lot of avenues. One, every week I'm calling voters, 125 to 150 households every day. So just by random luck, you're going to get some information, or one of my volunteers is going to get a hold of you. Knocking on doors. I'm out in the district every single day. You can find me on my website at friedmanforcongress.org. And I'm going to appeal to the constituents here. I cannot beat Susan Davis by myself. That is absolutely impossible. And if people are sitting in their living room, they say, gosh, I've had so much. What can I do? I've yelled at the TV. I've thrown my other TV out the window. I've yelled at my radio. I've yelled at talk show hosts, at my neighbors. Well, now it's no longer enough just to be a voter. Become an active participant. Step up and say, wow, Matt, I really am motivated by you stepping up and taking on this impossible task that breaking down this political machine, or there's assembly people out there that you may like, because there's so many wonderful races and so many wonderful candidates here in San Diego. Find somebody and get behind them. This is a battle, and if we don't recognize this as a battle, we are not going to take Congress back in 2010.
All right. So once again, if they want to get a hold of you and find out more about your campaign,
you can get a hold of me at friedmanforcongress.org. We do fundraisers all over the district. And one thing also that I'd like to say, this is something that we started a couple months ago, and I need to get it to you. 5% of our proceeds that come in from our fundraisers, actually, I have a check for you, goes to the Warrior Foundation. So that is something that's been near and dear to me. Because I have arthritis, I regret that I have not been able to serve in the military, so I took the next step of figuring out ways to be able to help veterans within the community, and that's one area that, if elected, I'd like to focus extensively on is veteran services, in addition to my business background. But yeah, I'm really pleased that every time I do have a fundraiser, I'm able to contribute a little bit back, and I'd love to give you that check for the Warrior Foundation.
Well, we always appreciate that very, very much, Mr. Friedman. Thank you for being with us, and if you want more information, we'll link you up at the website. 17 minutes after the 6 o'clock hour, I'm Rick Roberts. You're in the Court of Public Opinion.